I actually had to do take two on this, so I want to get this right. Okay, I gotta kind of do this backwards. I'll just start with the beginning. So that was from today. Got that book. Now, but here's my point. In one sense, this is a significant video for me because it's showing the progression of how things unfold is kind of right, but echo is also another correct description into existence. So, not I've said this for a while, but I had the idea that the the people of South America have right claim to the silver stolen. We know it was taken to. So on that note, the reason that book gets significant is because that book had something that I believed is a relation between the Catholic Church and the Vietnam War that I had never previously considered, which likewise echoed in my head a sociopathic type of connecting the dots of military campaigns that I've studied now as I am a student of war, and the association or presence of the Catholic entity of whichever time it is. And it gave me a new perspective, and it gave me a motivation that I wanted to attack the Catholic Church. So I'm going to try to do this to attack the Catholic Church. And I'm going to start by solidifying that this is crazy shit. This is a crazy dichotomy here. I know, understand. This doesn't make sense in reality because of the context of reality. But this is the crazy truth. In one sense, I can say this. I can actually say this. And the people I say this to can say this too, to themselves in one context, but not in today's reality. So in today's reality, it is crazy. But, so this book is Bad Popes. I'm reading from the, kind of like the introductory chapter, Rome, AD 900. Okay. Important too. I guess I gotta keep this in context too. This is about the war of the First World or imperialism against the Fifth World primarily. The second, third, and fourth, yeah, they're caught in the middle. But the primary target is the Fifth World, human identity. So this is from the book, okay, talking about where the Vatican now stands. Before it stood there, part of it became a cemetery, and part of it Nero developed as a great pleasure garden, where, in its famous circus, according to Christian tradition, the Apostle Peter was crucified during that night of insane cruelty in AD 64, when the living bodies of Christians were turned into torches, heralding the persecutions under Nero. The same tradition holds that Peter's body was taken down by disciples and buried in the shallow grave among the tombs near the circus. By the year 160, a humble but identifiable shrine marked the grave over which the first basilica of St. Peter was built in the early 4th century. The basilica, I highlighted this, founded, so legend said, by the Emperor Constantine himself, was to endure for over 1,000 years before it was swept away at last by the impatient surge of the Renaissance. So then it talks about some stuff, transformation. Now this is an interesting part. This is celebratory. It's like, okay, what I'm about to read, you guys, this is real life. This is a German writing a book about, I don't know. Oh, you know what? Here's a saying. They say the Spanish, but you can understand. The Catholic Church stole enough gold out of one mountain in South America, and that's not including Zacatecas, I believe, was the second biggest, and the biggest meant largest span of death. So the legend goes, or the phrase goes, that they stole so much silver from one mountain in South America. I believe it was, I'm not going to say which one, South America, that they could have built a bridge from there back to Spain. And so goes the phrase, and enough people died mining that silver under horrible, terrible Catholic-like conditions, that Roman type, imperial type conditions, that they could have built a bridge of human bones back. So if a Nazi guy was writing in a book today, damn, after my dad died, I opened up this bag and there was like 10,000 gold teeth in there. I was struck. I immediately knew that my family was going to be great, and it gave me a new invigorative. I didn't even have to use it. I still got it. I'm going to give it to my kids. That's what this is, okay? And this is another thing. Okay, I'm going to leave Judaism out of this for right now. But it's Abraham. It's all Abraham. In the which is Rome. Imperial fascist Rome. In the 7th century, the great center door of the basilica was plated with 1,000 pounds of massive silver, and the shrine of St. Peter itself was similarly adorned. This, the most sacred spot of earth in Christendom, now lay far below among the foundation of the basilica. But the architects had carefully allowed physical, if limited, access to it. A shaft led down from the high altar to the tomb itself, and the faithful could thrust their heads into the shaft and pray and let down. Less than a century after it had been silver-plated, the silver was torn out, replaced by solid gold sheets, golden statues, to outset it the modest silver statues of a poorer age, and precious stones added their glitter to what had been a humble shrine of stone. It's amazing to really grasp how the Catholic Church can revel in its wealth before the muck and mire of its excrement, which it tends to be populations of people who are, again, mass produced from epic rape campaigns and genocidal slaughter of male DNA from the fifth world. Hardcore, way not able to really put into context scale mind-boggling rape campaigns. So, and the way that they operate is, there's some stuff, other stuff in here. It just talks about the legacy. I guess you got to get to know it first a little. So there's a lot in here, and I like this because just that from seeing this book and seeing this element of the Catholic Church in the Vietnam War and trying to find evidence of it in its character, I have this book available that I haven't really got into. I've browsed it, I've read it, but I mean, I don't remember anything that I read. But I just get to flip through it and see what I can find to kind of go with where I'm going with this book, what I end up discovering. So here's something out of the time of Pope Clement the Seventh. I don't want to read that one first. Oh, that's right. There's something else here. Oh, actually, here's some pictures of the Pope. Oh, so the Spanish bull. Okay. I also want to talk about the relationship between the Catholic Church and the foundation of America, in one sense. And it's kind of hard to squeeze all this in, so shit, here we go. Okay, this is talking about the Borgia family, which we said, I just showed you that thing right there. And this is, okay. This is actually, I just saw this right now. Hold on. I'm going to jump over here. This is on the fly. This favorable patriot of Alexander's secretary, though colored by the self-interest of the courtier, on the whole reflected Italian opinion accurately enough. Those outside the closed circle of power knew only the handsome, generous prelate who delighted in providing lavish spectacles on public occasions. Some of those near the vortex held rather different opinions. I'll just leave the vortex. I like the vortex. Okay, now, skipping ahead. The Borgia arms, or its symbol, the great Spanish bull, Passant, appeared at every street corner. Near the palace of Saint Mark, a gigantic figure of a bull was erected from whose forehead wine gushed in a never-ending stream. Now, the symbolism is very, very critical because this is a Catholic monument. Now, in its natural form, it is a Catholic monument. The thing in Wall Street is not a symbol to the excrement that a bull market. No, it's Catholic Roman imperial decor of rulership. So, Rome was great under Caesar, but greater far under Alexander. For the first was only a mortal man. The second is a god. So, in one sense, you understand the concept God is amor, amor is Roma. God is love, love is amor, amor is Roma. Roma is a Roman fascist empire that does not exist in nations. It makes nations. It manufactures nations. It creates patriotism so that it is a method of control. It understands the correct perception of a human identity in order to function in a, it has nothing to do with intelligence, in just the capacity that we'll just say is different, irrelevant of, just different. And different is how whatever it turns out to be. But I guess there's no way to really describe it unless you do it. But so as such, the Catholic Church legacy is a military function. Okay, here we go. It was in his city that the mysterious alchemic change. Okay, the cardinals were accurate in their assessment of Leo's character, Leo X. God has given us the papacy. Let us enjoy it. He wrote to his beloved brother, I don't know how to say his name. Pleasure was to be the keynote of the pontificate, but a civilized pleasure, not the gross orgies of the Borgia, which I thought it was interesting when I just skipping through this, that the association with the first quote. With their bullfights and murders in the Spanish mode, Leo was not merely an Italian but a Florentine. It was in his city that the mysterious alchemic change wrought under pressure of war had produced the phenomena which later generations were to style Renaissance. Specifically, it had been his family, with their blend of business acumen and asceticism, who had cherished the tender new plan, acting as patrons to scholars and artists, pouring out tens of thousands of pure gold florins to Florence in their role of new Masons, I don't know how to say that, and incidentally tightening their grip upon Florence. So, what's missed here is the Catholic Church has always done the same thing. This guy, his family wrought the war. They led the war. They fund the war. They create the debt. They rake in. They become rich. And who gets rich? The people that are close to him and that like him. The artists that are celebrating him. This is the method of Roman imperial conquest as perpetrated by the Catholic Church throughout its legacy. So, okay, so if Pescara could be offered a big enough bribe, this is under Pope Clement VII. So Pope Clement is trying to go against the emperor. He wants to become the ultimate pope somehow, which is the emperor. If Pescara could be offered a big enough bribe, say the crown of Naples, the whole military strength of the emperor in Italy would be lost to him. Moroni took the project to Clement. It precisely suited the Medicean talent for double dealing, and Clement made the plot his own. He would crown Pescara king of Naples if Pescara would betray his master and join an Italian alliance against him. This leadership, this operation of using as a military campaign, conquest, first world against fifth world identity. We will massacre these motherfuckers. We will steal their identity. We will crush their being, hearts and minds. We must fucking tear that shit to pieces. And their use of giving away leadership roles is all part of military campaigns. Again, very critical. So let's get over here. And again, they stole this shit. They stole the silver. They sitting on it now. Besides the 6,100 priests. So according, who are identified and never went to jail. Now this is the sources after this, from the author essentially. According to his church's teachings. Oh, about the Pope, some shit. Oh, each of the 7 popes linked together in the present book precipitated the crisis in the affair of the Roman Catholic Church through the interaction of a defensive personality and theoretically unlimited power. In the vast context of the papal history, they were neither unique nor typical in their crimes, but each of them pursuing the lure of temporal power and pleasures caused a profound modification in the structure he had inherited, his actions reaching forward to chain his successor to the path that led at last to the European crisis of the Reformation and the Italian tragedy of the sack of Rome in 1527. Now, this is one thing too, is the catch is he makes it worse for his next predecessor, because you become the institution that you cannot betray. This is a legacy of crime. This is why the Pope, there's 2 popes right now, and one of them is a well-known, documented, undisputed, red shoe wearing Nazi. And it's sad, he was raised that way, so in one sense it's not even fair, because he never had a chance in fucking hell. But that fool is an undisputed, known, documented pictures, wears red shoes and everything, fascist Nazi, which is the same thing as a Roman fascist, because it's all Abrahamic. This is the point here. There is no distinction. The nice guy, the bad guy. they're not polar aspects. They're the Pope is two-faced right now. And you can't get it. And that symbolism, you can't even get beyond that. I don't even know how this is working in the universe, where the Pope releases the two white doves, and one is killed by a seagull, and the other one is killed by a black crow. I have never seen a pigeon or a mourning dove attacked by a seagull or a crow. I've never seen a crow attack another bird. I've never seen a seagull attack another bird. Not even little brown ones. So I don't know how that event occurred, but now the Pope too is two-faced. I don't even know what that means, but that has to have some kind of, anybody can create the most amazing meaning for that, but that's deep shit right there. Maybe it's the island people and the land-based, the tribal societies. It's time they're gonna take away the vision, the facade of peace, because you got to think about it too. They flew diagonal, so they make the V. So according to his church's teaching, the spiritual capacity of each remained unaffected by his temporal activities, the waters of divine grace continuing to pass through him unaffected by the possible foulness of the conduit. See, this is the fascist part of imperialism. The people that are their base are the descendants of the raped mothers of their horrifically hardcore colonial, they call it colonialism. It was the most horrific mass-scale rape campaign calculated to a T that is mind-boggling, sophisticated, and deeply focused, concentrated on achieving, goal-orientated, numbers-orientated. So according to the church teaching, this is a mystery of faith outside the argument, but reflects the abiding dilemma of the historian, the assessment of personal motives. Personal motives. No man can say what was in the innermost hearts of these 7 men. So this goes too with the FBI director. Shoot. FBI director. Perfect time to throw this in because I forgot to do this. So the FBI director, Comey, giving a speech last year in the New York bar, I believe in March, in which he said, the FBI, unlike a drug case where you can connect one transaction to another, then in a banking crime, explaining why he's not going to prosecute any banksters or even investigate them. In a banking crime, you have to determine that the guy's intent was bad, that he wanted to be bad, but that's based on what he answers. So you can't do that. So you can't put somebody in jail for just making a mistake, no matter how bad the consequences are. Okay? But meanwhile, a person can go to jail for 5 years for having a little piece of crack like that, or 5 years for having 5 pounds of cocaine, race-based. So this is funny. I grabbed this off the street, and I saw this. So I forgot I was going to use it. So it says, news and analysis. Former FBI accountant Ernie Cooper now looks for crime in companies. Page 10. Former. So while he was in the FBI, he was supposed to be looking for crime in companies, according to the common knowledge. But he wasn't. So my next thing, too, is, okay, so we've got this established. Oh, was there one last thing? In the late 19th century, so then it's supposed to change, because now it's not the same. This is the whole justification. The late 19th century, oh, so close. I mean, after everything, it was so close. That means change. How could it change back to anything like that if it changed so new? So in the late 19th century, the violent swings of the pendulum began to abate. The moment of rest best marked, perhaps, when Pope Leo XIII opened the Vatican archives to the great Catholic historian Ludwig Pastor with a single injunction: tell the truth. What's inside is not what's the lie. It's the silver, it's the massacre, it's the history that you are decimating and the people you will kill to protect your lie and to prevent other people from knowing the true legacy of who humanity is. So, and the fascist weapon of imperial conquest that this is. So what I got from this here too was out of the Vietnam War. I'll get more into the book, I guess, some other time. So this is hardcore shit in the book. So some of the pictures here. This is rampant, crazy propaganda. Okay, so this is a Playboy book. War. We're gonna rush through this. So you gotta understand here. That's an American soldier holding that kid. They did that to that kid. That kid is terrified, scared shitless. That's hardcore propaganda here. This is as VC. This is captioned VC. Look at, they're giving him water. They're helping him. This is 1973, this book. The scale of propaganda that's coming from this. This is Playboy Press book. War. Playboy Press. Look at that star too. 12-pointed star. Sun. So this is, look at Viet Cong. They're lying about even taking prisoners, and then look at how they're tied about their neck, but they're young, they're healthy. Dang, I mean, we have to see reality behind this, and this is so crazy. Oh my God, good. Well, I should delete this video because that's gonna be embarrassing. But anyways, no, look at that soldier. They just killed her kid. Look at this guy. And they're putting this in here not as a bad thing. Shortly before military artillery destroyed this village, this woman, this child. Quang Nai province, 1967. Right, victim of a helicopter rocket. It's very just nonchalant. So there's a victim of a helicopter rocket, and there's a victim of the helicopter rocket. As if there's one victim. The wording. So this is a part of Playboy. So the legacy of Playboy is the porn industry. And one time I got this, LA Express, and it's full of right-wing propaganda. It has on the cover oil prices, and inside of it are propaganda about the war in the Ukraine, about terrorism, about police arresting bad people, about Muslims, about how Israel's pro-Israel. It's crazy shit. And then likewise in this book, what I've learned, a deep part of history though, when it gets into the Vietnam part too, so we all know how bad Vietnam was, Melee and everything, Melee. So my part is here. By 1963, millions of Buddhists in South Vietnam revolted against Diem's Catholic Party and uprising in Saigon and Hue were savagely stamped out as Buddhist monks immolated themselves and protest South Vietnam's generals solved the problem by murdering Diem and his brothers. But Diem was the Catholic-aligned dictator. If you listen to Martin Luther King's speech given a year before he was assassinated, which was the first day ever in his life that he gave a public speech denouncing the Vietnam War. And in it he talked about Diem and the role of Diem in the formation of the whole apparatus and structure, what is the Vietnam War. So when you understand what's actually happening in here is you're seeing that the Catholic Church, the bad popes, have two faces and no peace. Their peace is dead. Their peace can't even make it fly away, and it's just a regular bird. And that means that we can't see the function that they're playing right now in military campaigns. And that's the most critical point, because they're holding the wealth still. Goes to show that they haven't changed and they have no reconciliation, because they feel redeemed and they can do whatever the fuck they want, because they are Imperial Roman Empire. That's why they do it, to get the shit. That's why they don't give it back. That's the proof they're not a religious organization. They're a military organization on a military campaign. And according to Clausewitz, a great philosopher on war, all military campaigns, all war has one intention: to totally disarm your enemy. No war can be considered one until your enemy is totally disarmed and subdued. And the fifth world and its descendants are subdued